Hey, ¿cómo está, muchachos? That's supposed to be welcome back, everybody. A lot of you have been recently asking me about an opening against d4. And recently I've been experimenting with the Queen's Gambit accepted, and honestly, it's actually starting to be one of my favorite openings currently. So, in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you a quick 5-minute guide dedicated to the key lines that are happening below 2000 ELO in online chess. And then I'm gonna be walking you through 3 rapid games that I played on my speedrun account. So let's not waste any more time and dive right into the lesson. Alright, so very important to understand, this opening only works against the queen's pawn. And it also only works when they are playing the Queen's Gambit. Either now, on the second move, or they could also include knight f3, knight f6, and then c4, because we're going to be taking. But in the vast majority of your games, this is going to be happening, and we're going to be playing the accepted version. We're going to be going for dc. And already, I want you to remember the key idea that is genuinely going to be shocking for most of your opponents, which is the fact that we want to play e5 on the very next move in most of your games. It's a very powerful pawn sacrifice. This is going to be our secret Uno card. It's going to be as unpleasant as a kidney shot. So let's talk a little bit about what are the white options here. So they can either push the e-pawn, opening up bishop's path towards the capturing, or they can also play the automatic knight move, which is typical for the Queen's Gambit. Now, after a move like knight c3, remember, you want to do e5. So, first tactical justification is that the endgames are never really a good idea for our opponent. I mean, they will normally get messed up king position or like passive knight. And we can easily complete our development with moves like knight c6, bishop e6, supporting the pawn, perhaps even long castle. So they will definitely play d5 in the vast majority of the cases. And this is going to be the first time I'm going to be asking you to pause the video and think about what would you play. So, in fact, pinning the knight is a pretty interesting move. But I'm also curious, what would you play against the equally interesting queen a4? Targeting the king, targeting the bishop. So perhaps this is the reason why you may watch the video till the end. Obviously, bishop b4 is a blunder. You should not be playing that. But instead, we just develop the knight. And white is going to be pushing e4. Building a massive pawn center, getting ready to win back the pawn. Looks like white gets everything what they wanted. Why the heck am I supporting such opening? Well, this is gonna be our very important key idea that already on move 5 is giving black pretty much a winning position. It's a -1 advantage. You decide for yourself if that is winning enough. But it's b5. Using the fact that white cannot take the pawn because they will lose the important central pawn. And we're going to be having a separate game dedicated to this position. So stay tuned for that. And another option to get a position like this could be if white plays e4. Right? Stepping in the center, trying to take. We do the same e5, and yet again, in most of your games, they're going to be pushing. Nobody really allows the endgame. It's not a good endgame, and also statistically speaking, they don't like it. And after d5, knight f6, knight c3, by magic, we're back into the same thing. You can do b5. So this pretty much leaves us with only 2 options left for white, which are, let's say, the old school way of recapturing the pawn, e3. But as you can see, that once again does nothing to stop our key move, e5. And after bishop c4, ed4, we're going to be getting these kind of thematic positions with the isolated queen's pawn, where black pretty much has very easy development. Knight on natural square, bishop d6, with castle short, and You can think of developing the pieces this way with an equal possession, which is once again going to be featured in one of the games. So the last kind of important thing that white can play in the starter pack variations is after DC, knowing that this e5 move is such a powerful threat, the top level players have started going for knight f3, specifically aimed against it. But the good news is that this only roughly happens around 10% of the games in online chess. And against knight to f3, if you've been following my Jubava London journey so far, you're really going to be loving this variation because I recommend you to play knight f6. And after e3, e6 and the good old lines with c5 are of course perfectly playable. But I like bishop g4 instead, going for more active play. With the idea that after bishop c4, you want to be aware of the small trick with bishop f7 and then knight e5. So we need to immediately blunt that bishop with e6. And then we pretty much follow no matter what white does with knight c6, bishop d6, short castle. We meet h3 by keeping the tension. And we are looking for the e5 pawn push with similar positions to the Jabava London. So in a nutshell, this is pretty much all you need to know in order to start crushing with the Queen's Gambit accepted. So, what life lesson did we learn today? That's right. Take on c4, play e5, and crush the bastard. Now, if for some reason you need a little bit more than that, here are gonna be the model games. It could actually be b5. Yeah, I think it's b5. I played a few training games. I'm still experimenting with the Queen's Gambit accepted, but yeah, b5 is probably the move because knight takes allows knight e4. In my training games, I played a lot of bishop c5 because I didn't know the theory or the best move, so to speak. But I think b5 is even stronger. Knight b5, knight e4, and black is already like -1 advantage after b5, if I can recall this correctly. And okay, bishop g5. Very interesting stuff. I could play bishop c5 and set up a trap. Should we go for it? I could also play a6 and secure the pawn. But I'm gonna go for the active play. So bishop c5, preparing to castle, and feel free to pause the video and find why knight takes on b5 is not a good move here. The problem with that is, assuming you pause the video, bishop takes on f2. And then after king takes on f2, there is this very nice trick with knight takes on e4. And then, yeah, probably take back with a knight on g5, I'd imagine. And black still has an extra pawn and enemy king is very weak. But knight f3 is played. Okay, question. Why not simply b4? And then once the knight moves, the idea is to weaken e4 square so that we can do the same combo. Yeah? No, I think b4 looks about right to me. b4 can white actually throw in captures. Yeah, okay, perhaps I shouldn't rush with it. It's very tempting to try to win immediately, but you also want to keep control over the position. Because yeah, bishop f6 seems to be a bit annoying. Like queen takes and then knight a4, I will have hanging bishop, hanging pawn. So it could be, yeah, much better to just do a6. Since knight e5, I mean, white is losing a lot of time with that. At least maybe a queen e7 move or castle with rook c8 should be good. So I'm gonna play a6 here. Just kind of stabilizing. Why did I play a6? I could have also just castled. Yeah, I forgot knight b5, bishop f2 is not a problem. Anyways, I'm just playing bad moves. Not really bad, but necessary. I played A6 was a comfort move. But now I'm about to play rook e8 and yeah, should be okay. It's just I should have simply castled. I brain farted while playing a6. But yeah, here's the thing. Rook e8. And there's a little bit of a situation going on with that pawn on e4 because I think e5 is only making the pawn more vulnerable, if anything. e5, imagine a move like knight bd7. The pawn is pinned, they cannot take, and knight takes e5 is happening. Imagine bishop f4. Okay, I mean, even knight h5 could be a move to eliminate the defender of the e5 pawn. However, he plays bishop e2 and yeah, there's one thing that stops me from taking on e4. The fact that I am pinned. But also maybe now it's perfect time to do b4. Oh, this is so pretty. Oh, this is so pretty. Okay, maybe too late now. Just need to try e5. Son desperado. Yeah, but knight a4. Please feel free to pause the video and I think we find the winning move. Because, yeah, we can do this simple combo that I mentioned a year ago. Well, white shouldn't take. King f1. Then after king f1, okay, how do we play this? This is actually, maybe I relaxed a bit too early. This looks completely winning, but how? Okay, this is not a frat, but bishop f6 is a frat and then king f2. So, yeah, it means I kind of have to move the bishop. Yeah, I don't know if I love my decision in hindsight. It just felt so tempting, but not sure if it was the right thing to do. I mean, I can at the very least play bishop a7 and then e5, knight g4, I imagine should be good. Because I'm trading queens after bishop d8, knight e3. This could be either really good or really bad. To sum it up, e5. Maybe I can just play knight takes on d5. Bishop d8, knight e3, king e1. Wait, maybe I have knight g2? Knight e3? Wait a second. This can actually get pretty interesting. e5, knight e5. Bishop d8, knight e3, king e1. I mean, it feels like knight d1, rook d1 gets to defend the bishop. But maybe I have knight g2 making it fun. King d2 and then rook d8 check. King c1. I mean, I'll have to take on d1. I'm gonna be down in exchange. So okay, this is happening. Now, another move is h6. Bishop h4 and then g5. ef, gh4. To be honest, that might be easier and better than what I mentioned previously. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Knight d5 was an interesting move, but unnecessary. Like, logically, I should just be able to break this pin, and the fact that his king is never really getting to safety should play in our favor. Imagine white wants to play g3, king g2. Well, g3, bishop h3 already forces the king back in the middle. So the king will be unable to reach safety. And okay, sure, I am indeed kind of committing while playing this g5, but he doesn't have any pieces to attack me because the knight is on a4, the bishop is not that active. The knight is a bit restricted. So yeah, I was kind of expecting to get this position, but it looks completely crashing. Simply, yeah, because he's gonna be playing down a rook for the rest of the game. It feels like. he's not gonna be able to connect his rooks, and I have maybe bishop g4, knight d7. I have much easier ways of developing my pieces. That's why I'm actually so optimistic about this. Okay, now do I start with the bishop, or do I want to start knight d7 threatening knight e5? It feels like this should be prioritized because once the knight lands on e5, it's actually threatening to land on g4 besides attacking the bishop. And if the knight is teleported over here, then it will land on e3, and that's gonna, yeah, create some headaches to my opponent. You have a pretty silent threat of going knight e5, knight g4. Maybe he should already try to create a mess with d6. But yeah, I mean d6, even bishop b7 is an idea. But d6 maybe same knight e5, and bishop d5, knight g4, yeah. So he's trying to get the rook this way, I guess, but remember that the bishop covers it, so h4 is completely pointless move, and white is about to get toasted. Because, yeah, expecting to see bishop back on e2, but yeah, knight g4 is gonna be in town, and my opponent's pieces are scattered all over the board. And okay, bishop b3, not even safeguarding the knight, perhaps, yeah, making me wonder whether we could play some bishop g4, but also more interesting, now that this diagonal is vulnerable, I could consider a5, bishop a6 check. How is in fact white stopping that? Nah. I mean, so many tempting options, like either knight g4 with knight e3 is killer, but a5 seems even stronger. Bishop a6, and these diagonals are gonna be taken. The rook is covering this. I mean, no, this is just... I told you white is gonna be playing down a rook, but I didn't expect it to feel this painful. And the knight is never really entering the game from a4. Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like I made a few misplays, but yeah, actually only one misplay, to be honest. The only thing that I played, which was not necessary, was perhaps this a6 move. I should have just castled, but now, yeah, like rook c1, I mean, I can just check. This is game over. Where do you like hide the king? Remember that the bishops are pretty deadly together. Bishop c4, I mean, doesn't really save much. I'll just take it with a knight, and then the discovery check is still on the way. This is called the Alekhine system. I didn't even know about the name. But yeah, I'll show you after the game what my opponent was supposed to do instead, not to fall under so much pressure on move 5. Now, yeah, knight c4, and about to play knight d2, double check and mate. So it's actually impossible to stop that because the king is completely cut in a mating net. And the bishop will be the hitman for this game. Bang! Now white has to block with the queen, and then it's gonna be mate. This is so brutal. I feel so bad for my opponent. Okay. Let's hop in a quick game review and probably quit chess right after. And okay, I mean, wow, dude, we got a 96. That's better than average. Okay, well, now, as I mentioned in the introduction, I think e5 is the easiest move. But in order to show how limitless the Queen's Gambit accepted really is, even playing a6, it's quite interesting, specifically on this knight c3. So this is gonna be the topic of the next game. But yeah, he goes knight to c3. Now, on knight c3, you can also do a6, which I'm trying to recall whether this was the most precise. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go a6 this time. e5 is good. I definitely played that in the past. But a6 with the idea that if white is trying to prevent b5, with a move like a4, then I believe knight c6 is very strong. The point being that, okay, if e3, we have knight a5. And this works very well in combination with white having played a4 because the b3 square has been weakened. And now all of a sudden knight b3 could be quite an annoying move to deal with. But yeah, he plays a3 and I think we should be just close to winning. What can I say? Good black opening. I could also do knight since it's a tempo move. I'm just kind of slightly worried about whether he could push. Then I get my pawns a little bit overextended. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start knight c6 simply. Also e5 is a move, but no, I'm just gonna do knight 6. I see a gaping hole on b3. Might as well try to use it. Okay, so knight f3 protects. I was maybe also thinking he could push, but could have gone with the knight onto a5. I think I'm gonna do knight. So you don't need to be afraid of the check because that can be nicely parried with c6. So blocking and protecting the knight. And yeah, he plays h3. I mean, I guess it makes some sense in a way that bishop g4 is no longer a move, but it's slow. So I was thinking b5 already. And a4, I should be in time with c6. Or knight b3 and then c6. So yeah, e4. Looking at bishop b7, knight b3. Could also knock at his door. Okay, I'm gonna start bishop b7 simply. I think you can play many good moves. I think black has pretty large advantage. Yeah, my intuition would be computer says around -1, 1.5 already, but yeah. Apparently, I am not allowed to guess computer eval because I would immediately get accused by my viewers that I am using external assistance. That's a pretty fancy way of saying that you're cheating. But no cheating. Okay, e5. Where should I be going with the knight? Knight e4. The thing is, knight on e4 is going to be a little bit loose. Like knight takes, bishop lacks support on that square. So I'd be more tempted to play something like knight d5. Because when I'm going to be recapturing my bishop compared to e4, it's going to be protected on d5. Meaning that I could potentially save a tempo not having to either move the bishop or protect it. So that's a little decision making. And okay, only interesting way for white to try to make a mess. Perhaps you can take this as an exercise and pause the video. It was not castle. I think white had an interesting move. Okay, not to like really turn the tables or anything. At this point, I think white's position is already getting pretty desperate. But, you know, you can at least try to make it uncomfortable for your opponent. So, considering the fact that black wants to go e6, bishop e7 castle, you identify what he wants to do and you look for a way to make this not so accessible, let's say. And he could have maybe tried pawn sacrifice. I mean, surely we can take and then probably fianchetto and just do very well. But it was a way to complicate matters. Now, I should just do this. I could also perhaps look for a well-timed knight b3. But now he plays tempo move, targeting queen. I mean, I can just complete development. And okay, I mean, we're not necessarily playing Queen's Gambit Accepted with the idea that, okay, by all means, we're dreaming to win a pawn. No, not at all, actually. But when it happens, you know, we'll take it. It's a pretty nice thing. And already, I think it's going to be time that you pause the video and find the final winning move. Because, okay, what do you want to look for when there is winning move? Undefended pieces. So, what is the only undefended piece in the position? Knight on e4. So, there could be a little bit of a tactic. And I'm thinking knight e3 with idea that he's going to be forced to take due to the fork. And then I'm going to be able to capture the bishop. I mean, capture with the bishop. Technically, it's just a trade, but then you realize that the rook on b1 is pretty isolated. So, knight e3, and then, yeah, we're just going to go after this restricted rook. Oh, knight f6 check. Take this one. Wow, okay. Some really advanced tactics here. Obviously, it's a completely pointless move that you should be able to refute in your sleep, but yeah, I will give him that at least. It came with a shocking value. Okay, so he doubled my pawns, but I mean, double my pawns as in, it's very tempting to play rook g8, queen d5 and just try to mate him. Yeah, that idea is quite appealing. So I have bishop e4, yeah, just winning the rook, play endgame. But endgame is boring. You don't come on this channel for boring chess. Maybe for a boring guy, but not the chess. Or actually, maybe it could be different. Something has to be boring. It cannot everything be perfect. Okay, white plays g3. Now, g3 creates a crystal. It's restricting the rook, so kudos for that. However, yeah, we got a bazooka ready on diagonal, so opponent will have a difficult time to defend against that. As I said, I mean, I don't really see a concrete threat, like an immediate way for us to win. But I would be terrified to live with this pin hanging on top of my head like Damocles sword or something like that. Insert smart quote. Okay, queen c2. I don't really think I'm worried about this pawn, as I can just play f5, but I'm gonna say, come on opponent, take it. Open more files for my rooks. That would be, I guess, helpful for us. Oh, also maybe interesting idea. I could do f5, bishop h4 with idea to take on g3. Because he cannot really take with the knight. Because he's getting mated. Queen c3, I don't really see what that move is trying to do. Apart from losing immediately. Okay, losing immediately, but how? Okay, only 1 minute left. I could play caveman chess. And I could also play h5, h4. Yeah, probably easiest this way. If h4 by him, then okay, maybe idea to take and then bishop h4. Or perhaps just push. And then bishop h4 I'm threatening actually. So he should do bishop g5 I guess, but I can take twice, so that doesn't save him. Okay, big threat here. Maybe king h2 as a move to take with a pawn. Okay, a4, completely pointless. He forgets about the thingy. Bishop is untouchable. Remember, we got the bazooka lined up. And okay, I need to be careful because, yeah, if I start playing overly aggressive, he might escape. I'm gonna try to keep it very simple. I have 30 seconds. I might actually flag, which would be pretty embarrassing, but I just want to play it very simple. If A-B, I'm just gonna take back with a pawn. And then, yeah, I have simple idea to play h4. Okay. Let's go. If he takes maybe rook h8 or rook g4, guess here. I want to take. Bishop g5, I'm taking. He takes with the rook, and then what? I mean, I could take pawn on d4. It's completely winning it 100 ways. Except I'm pretty sure I will find the only way to not win it. Okay, so that move. Okay, I'm perhaps playing for queen e4 next to bring the queen and target all his family. Okay. Okay. Targeting three things at once. Must be a pretty good move. And I do want to play rook h4 next, so should be careful. Okay, what about bishop c4? Yeah, probably just take. Jesus, that move hangs 100 pieces. I don't know which one to take. Okay, I took the bishop because I'm planning to go for mate. Okay, I mean queen f2 next. What's this? Okay. Playing for flag. I have 20 seconds. I'll try to do a bit of pre-moving. Hopefully we're gonna be in time, but first game of the day, I'm pretty rusty. Okay, bishop e4. I just want to win his rook and I'm playing for rook trade. Yeah, expecting king f4. Hopefully he takes to the king. No, he saw that. Okay, this is actually threat of mate in one. So, yeah. Kind of difficult though for him to allow it. He had no legal moves to allow the mate in one. Plan is to pick up the pawn and then has to babysit that guy. Push the c pawn. And knight d1 to block the rook, get the full queen. I'm not playing knight d3, I play like this to restrict the rook and I get a clean queen. I don't want a dirty queen, I want a clean queen. So that's what I'm gonna get myself. We worked hard for it this game. And check is coming on h6, rook h7. Try to mate with a ladder or something. Jesus, I hate this part. I'm about to do some shit again. Okay, 5 seconds left. All right, nice. Okay. I don't know. I mean, it was kind of a nice first time experience to play this opening. I don't play this often, but I experimented a little bit with it. And okay, we got 93 for the first time playing Queen's Gambit accepted. That's pretty nice. All right. Whoa, look who made it this far in the video. Be a little bit careful with that because you may get as addicted as I got at this opening because in the following last game, we're gonna be going over the classical e3 line. Specifically these typical positions after the key move e5. Really want to remember e5 and crush the bastard after. Because then we take and we're getting these typical isolated positions. So that is going to be the topic of the next game. He's probably going to go knight f3, bishop d6. And, well, white also has the option to play queen e2 check, which is a theoretical move where I think I'm supposed to block with the queen and go for the trade. But no, we're just getting into these, typical equal kind of positions where, I have to be honest, I'm also kind of first timing. I don't have a lot of experience playing this structure yet, but the computer said it was equal, so let's find out how difficult that will be. Okay. So he tries to keep the annoying pin. So far, this is very natural. I think you're quite likely to get something similar in your own games as well. And he's not playing the move h3, meaning that I could go bishop g4 if wanted. Generally, I notice that the knight goes on to c6 and maybe considering bishop g4, but in general, we can also be just fine by playing bishop onto f5. So yeah, the only thing that it's a bit annoying, it's this spin along the diagonal. But we should be able to, just let's say play around it for a little bit. So yeah, now tempting move would be bishop f5. Rook e8 also comes to mind, trying to win the file. It's just that rook e8 kind of softens the f7 square a little bit. So for instance, I'd be a bit afraid of queen b3 in that regard. Although maybe I have knight a5. Because bishop f7, king f8. And the bishop is a bit loose, but I'd imagine at least queen a4, king f7, queen a5. And okay, we're still down a pawn. It's not so clear, so we shouldn't complicate like that for no particular reason. Yeah, bishop f5 strikes me as the most natural move, and I think I'm gonna play it, and then we'll think. Expecting knight c3 or rook e1. Queen b3 is bad now because I simply win bishop pair. So yeah, I'm putting him on knight c3 or rook e1, and there we have it. Now, okay, I haven't really considered this seriously, but do we actually get a good version of g5? That would really resolve this annoying pin. Because obviously, I think the knight sack should not be enough considering the fact that I have my bishop nearby the king. So g5 pretty much forces him to go bishop g3, where we have two options. Option A, double up his pawns, and then yeah, my bishop is a bit loose, so maybe a move like bishop g6 comes to mind. And we play that position, which is interesting. Or we don't double his pawns and we just go for like knight e4, allowing, let's say, him to take, even though he's not forced to. But we're pressuring the bishop. Yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna go g5. Alternatively, I could play bishop e7, but it feels like it's a bit slow. And especially in this version with the pawn on h3, it's tempting to take. Although it's a very double-edged sword, like taking on g3 could perhaps only help him with the pressure. So I think I'm gonna go for the safer move. Knight e4 strikes me as a much safer alternative. Because it also comes with a tempo, and in general we try to prioritize tempo moves. So knight e4, and if bishop d6, perhaps I can even take with a knight, getting a tempo on his bishop. And we're playing a bit risky with this king, but if I manage to, let's say, bring a rook to d8, play king g7, I mean, as I said, thanks to this bishop, our king is gonna be rather safe. So, yeah. Considering to take with a queen, just double checking if knight b5 should be something we should worry about. Generally not. You should not let the knight live in the center for so long. But also, how's knight d6? Targeting the bishop, imagine bishop d3 will get played, and then maybe a simple move like king g7, you know, just kind of improving the king a little bit. Perhaps ideas to go rook e8 next, or queen f6. Yeah, that looks like an interesting way of playing, but queen d6 strikes me as more natural. Also could consider knight c3, but that's just improving his pawn structure, it feels like. So how about this move? He goes like rook e1, and then what do we do with the knight? I'd like to play rook fe8, but I'm not sure whether he has some tactics with f7 square. Like knight e4 and then knight e5. My pieces are a bit loose. So perhaps I should take the tempo. If I take the tempo, bishop b3, king g7. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the tempo. Although probably both moves were completely fine. Another idea that just struck me is we could potentially try to maneuver this knight to g6. Could be interesting. So in order to feel really safe, I think if we can get king g7 and f6 at some point to take away e5 square and completely sidestep this bishop, then white is not gonna have any attack. Of course, my position is a bit fragile, like You wanna still be careful, even though we should be in good shape. And okay, how to proceed now? The nice thing about this knight is that it also secures f7. So I'm thinking about prioritizing the open file. Any d5 should probably be in our favor when he blocks his bishop. And okay, on d5 I will also have knight e5 as an additional move. I'm just not rushing with queen f6 because of this annoying knight d5 idea. And I have to go back to defend the pawn, it seems. So let's see. I quite like my position, but yet again, I mean, I should probably, yeah, actually I'm gonna do more digging into this, because the way he played, yeah, just now in the opening, he's supposed to go for that queen e2 check early on. Like here, queen e2 is more popular, but yeah, this really feels like something that can happen regularly. So it's worth to give it a study. But rook e1, okay, rook e1, expected move. So king g7, part of the plan, although you wanna watch out for d5, because d5 I no longer have the same knight d5. Okay, how about tempo move, like knight a5, try to chase the bishop. Bishop c2 could be perhaps an option. Maybe knight c4 after, targeting the pawn. b3. Yeah, not very simple. I mean, I can play knight b6, but do I like it? King g7, d5. Is that like so annoying? It kind of is. I mean, I could do like knight a5. And the idea would be to mate queen d4 with queen f6. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna play like that, I think. King g7. Just sidestepping this diagonal. Good move in general, it feels like. Knight e5. Okay, maybe possible. I didn't really consider it. Knight e5, maybe same knight a5, f6 idea to get rid of him. d5, I think we have to go tempo move. I could play passive, it's just that I don't like to give him the check. So yeah, knight there, I have knight a5, so important that this guy really covers f7 as well. The knight on d6 turns out to be quite nicely placed. And bishop c2, I was thinking f6. It's important to not go trade and then f6, because that would allow queen g6 check. We're kind of doomed. So on bishop c2, how about f6? Can he go bishop f5 intermezzo? So f6, bishop f5. Can we take the knight? That would be lovely. Let's say he goes bishop back, bishop c2. Okay, not so clear. Maybe just queen f6 though. Queen f6, similar knight d5 like in the past. Yeah, I would like to play f6, but bishop f5. Are we in time with knight f5? Yeah, looks like we're in time with knight f5, and then pawn on d4 is loose. So gonna play what my initial instinct was. Just try to get rid of his most active piece. Very logical move. And okay, I mean, if white doesn't manage to do anything concrete with these moves that he's playing, he will have this sort of long-term problem with the weak pawn. So we have simple plan of like playing queen d7, trading rooks, rook e8, maybe try to improve the knight. So as long as my king is safe, which appears to be for the moment at least, we will be slightly better in the endgame. So let's see. Expecting him to go back, that feels best move for my opponent. Although, going back rook e1, I'm kind of forcing him to take with the knight not to lose the bishop. And his knight gets pretty passive. Yeah, taking might actually be clever there, and then play queen d7. Not rushing to do anything with this knight, but it always will have prospects to improve. via c4, or worst case scenario, go back. I just did knight a5 basically to avoid unnecessary double pawns. I just did that to win tempo because I was targeting the bishop and prepare f6. Otherwise, you want to be very careful with placing your knights on the edge of the board. So, yeah, apparently we're playing the old variation. I'm still getting accustomed to the names of this. But, yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm threatening to go bishop c2 and then just pick up the knight. So he kind of has to move it. And he doesn't really have many squares for the knight. But also if you go back, it's like you're accepting you have nothing. You're just slightly worse. So knight f3, it's unnecessary to take on c2 because you're developing the queen. But it's much better to mess up his coordination with rook takes on e1. He's unable to take with the queen because of the hanging bishop, and the knight will become even more passive. And then I'll just try to bring my last piece in the game. Yeah. We're not... okay, wow, he played knight to d3. Speaking of weird moves, knight d3. Can I just improve? Threatening to also maybe take? Yeah, I don't know. This is also a good move. Okay, I'm gonna go for a natural. It's not always natural is best, but I don't have a lot of time, so... Knight c4 with idea b3, simply knight b6. Or b3, I could also consider rook e1. Takes with the queen, not super sure about that. Oh, b3, I have a very strong move, knight a3, in fact. Look at this, knight a3 and the bishop is trapped. And I'm winning his bishop pair. And now I also have queen g6 idea. Okay, this can really backfire for my opponent. He goes over there. I have knight d2, but that doesn't really help me. I have knight b2 kind of winning a pawn, but I'm going to play a simple move. Increasing the pressure. Notice that queen b7 doesn't work. The knight defends literally everything. How about rook e1 though? That's a bit scary. Rook e1 threatening rook e7. Rook e1 maybe knight e2. And then rook e7, check king f8, queen e2, and then knight back on e4. His rook will be hanging, maybe he takes. Okay. He wants that idea. Maybe he could also play for g4. Okay, time to keep it simple. I'm just gonna take with the queen. Still, I have same b3, knight a3, kind of nice. Giving nightmares to this bishop, and my position is incredibly safe the whole time. I'm also kind of threatening to win a piece. Rook e1 threatening to take on c2 after. Rook e3, that's a hanging rook, sir. Not only a hanging rook, but also a hanging knight after. So, with only 40 seconds left, we should be able to cash this one in, but yeah, especially after the queen gets to activate. Now for final meltdown, he should take on b7. Wow. Okay, knight d1. I can keep pressuring him, or I can try to offer queen trade. Idea queen e2, queen d4, and if queen there, maybe knight f5. I wanted to do this move because I couldn't have moved the knight without losing the pawn. So now I close that door for him, and knight e3 is about to happen. And that's actually going to be finishing him off. Yeah, I mean, I already felt like once we have gotten the queen onto g6, the advantage will start snowballing, but not to that degree of a meltdown by my opponent. So he definitely facilitated the process. But that's kind of what happens if white fails to get any attack to compensate for the inferior pawn structure with the isolated pawn. So yeah, now just gonna be a simple procedure. I don't even have to pre-move this with 25 seconds. I'm just gonna try to get a passed pawn, and then we're gonna try to push that passed pawn. So in the process, might as well collect the rest of his pawns, which I could do, but I'm just gonna try to bring the king and put him in zugzwang to get a quicker mate. Yeah, so bringing the king, preparing f3, taking the pawn. Okay, king f4 being a threat. Could also queen the c pawn and mate with queen and rook, but yeah. Let's see. Let's see if he's gonna play till mate. Okay, so rook e2, cut the king, king g3, and he will be in zugzwang. So rook e1 will be the checkmate. And by the way, zugzwang is an intelligent way of saying that my opponent is lost. Now he has no good moves. If you're on a date and you want to impress the girl, tell her she's in zugzwang. That will definitely work. So opponent resigns. And okay, we got a pretty accurate game. So 94%. Now, related to this game, I just wanted to make one quick mention because I have gotten a slightly worse position. So I did a little bit more research after, and I realized that we can use the pretty simple following rule. If white plays h3, we go h6, and then, knight c6, bishop f5. And if they go for bishop g5, you really want to do the pin yourself as well. In the game, I played knight c6, which is still fine, but it's easier to pin. So this would have been the better move. So yeah, thanks everybody for making it all the way into the video. Please let me know into the comment section if perhaps you'd like to see more Queen's Gambit on the channel. I mean, it already looks so easy that maybe it doesn't really need another video, but if you guys want another video, I guess I can try to make another video. So let me know down below. Alex Manzea out.